All right, so let's get started with this conversation about strong business relationships. We've got two fantastic entrepreneurs who are joining us today, and they're going to share their insights based on their own business experiences. So, first, I'm thrilled to introduce Pamela Jones, who's president and CEO of Charboys. Pamela, would you mind just quickly sharing a little bit about you and your business?
Yes, thank you. Yes, I'm a very excited entrepreneur. Love the business, into food. We have about maybe 450 store locations. Our products are in over 450 store locations throughout the Midwest. And we are through retail and e-commerce. And I would say that our products are innovative. They're quality products and they're lower in sodium and sugars than most major brands in this category. And we also have wholesale vendors as well, casinos and different schools and universities that we provide the products to. Sauces and seasons, Charboys. Thank you.
Thank you, Pamela. It's such great barbecue sauce. It's in my cabinet currently. All right. And next, we're honored to have Kei Okumura, who's the Chief Scone Officer of Sugarbird Sweets and Teas, joining us as well. Kei, would you mind telling us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Thank you so much for having me here. It's always a pleasure to speak with anyone at Accion Opportunity Fund and meet other entrepreneurs. So I'm the Chief Scone Officer of Sugarbird Sweets and Teas. We are a bakery specializing in scones and afternoon tea. We started our business 10 years ago at the farmers market, and we currently are doing heavy e-commerce during the pandemic, transferring from a wholesale and catering. And we are in local grocery stores. We sell to hotels, cafes, restaurants with our scones and teas.
Wonderful. Thank you. And thank you both for joining us today. I'm excited to jump into our discussion. So first question, every entrepreneur, I feel like, thinks first about their customer relationship. When they think about business relationships, customers first and foremost. So I'm wondering what strategies you all have employed to build stronger customer relationships. So we can start with Kei and then we'll go to Pamela.
Thank you. As for customer relations, we have two parts of this. Originally, we were heavy in wholesale and catering, so we were dealing with vendors in the food service sector. And that was really an easier way for us to communicate because we knew exactly how we're going to be doing business. But when we shifted during the pandemic abruptly to e-commerce, I was dealing with customers one-on-one. And that was a completely different way of interacting with our customers. And, you know, I can't say that I'm constantly learning and I don't have any of the answers, but I made a lot of mistakes. I can say that during the transition but I learned a lot. And I think the best way that we approach our customers is that we treat them as we want to be treated. And that's kind of cliche, but it goes a long way. And we try to, reach out to customers who may have gotten their products delayed or they were damaged. I mean, our products are premium and they're having it sent to their loved ones for special occasions. So it's for us, it's really important for us to be able to make sure we monitor the shipping and the packaging as much as we can. And if that goes, with all the things that happened in the past 2 years with shipping being delayed or damaged, we really wanted to reach out to the customers direct and feel like they have one key person that they can reach out to. And we made that open when we have our ordering system and we keep constantly letting them know when their package is going to be arriving or if they're going to be delayed. That was the biggest key component. When packages are being delayed, to let them know that it's being delayed so they can think about it rather than being surprised that they're not going to get it. So that was a big shift and that was a huge learning aspect. And then we can provide them with an alternative and options of how we can make that order better. And I think that has been a huge stress relief and for our customers and for our team.
Okay, I think I'll follow Kim. And If that's okay, I'll just
Yeah.
go ahead and say a few words. Oh, great. Kim is so on point with this too, because, I think a lot of our companies experience some of the same things, especially if you find things out as you go. For our company, since we deliver our products through retail and e-commerce, I would say, provide immediate response within 24 to 48 hours for any customer's concern. This action builds the customer's trust in your brand, which is really important, in building that customer relationship. So for example, if you're responding to replacing, like, Kei mentioned, a damaged product or complaint with a product, throw in something extra. It'll go a long way. That's something they didn't expect, like, oh, I got this too. And believe me, that customer will share that experience about your brand to someone they know, and that'll share it with someone they know. And next thing you know, you start building those relationships. Another strategy, I would say is to, for example, if you're dealing with e-commerce online and your normal process is delivering a product shipped within 3 to 5 days, if possible, try to deliver that earlier. I know, and right now that would be amazing, because we do have issues with, people not working, especially during this time. If you can deliver it a little earlier than what they expected, wow, this action shows, you're very engaged and the customer feels important and valued. And one more strategy I would say is, having access to your customers' data. That is huge. So it gives you the opportunity to email your customer at least once a month, for promotions, coupons, holiday gift suggestions, using special occasion suggestions, that customers can actually use with your product. So try engaging those customers with maybe a quick, short 1 or 2 minute video to educate them about your products and how it can be used. In fact, I know you all know about this. I mean, as far as the business Facebook page, but you can use that to promote the brand to customers, and it costs between $10 and $40. Depends on how many people you want to reach 300 to 1,000. So $10 to $40 to reach about 1,000 people a day is not that bad. If you have an Amazon store, you can really get creative in building those customers' relationships, because you can put on that store whatever your product is. You just saturate it with all the things that they can use that product for, and it also builds sales for other products that you may have going on. And Amazon typically will provide you with supporting you, with helping you build those customers' relationships. And once you start engaging those customers with your brand, you can use these ideas to sustain the customer's relationship as well.
Wonderful. That's so helpful. It seems like, Kei, for you and for you, Pamela, the cultivating of a relationship and some type of communication is really key, and maybe using some technologies to help with that, so it's not one person to one person every single time. Those are really good ideas. Thank you for sharing those. I think the customer is kind of where everybody's brain goes first when they think about relationships, and those are critical, of course, but there's lots of other behind the scenes relationships that keep the business going, right? So I'm hoping we can talk a little bit about those. So can you all share how you manage the relationships with, whether it's a supplier or a vendor, other people who you need to make sure you get what you need from them? How do you make sure that you get what you need to help run the business? So this time, Pamela, we'll start with you and then we'll go to you, Kei.
Okay. So, it is really important, to build that good relationship with your vendors or suppliers. Your entire business is based on building these good relationships and also networking to have a backup plan. I say that because you need to do your homework and make sure your vendors, now, you have to make sure those vendors are reliable too. And those suppliers are reliable. And I say be cautious of putting all your eggs in one basket. Because sometimes a vendor could look great, excellent website, and they could be from a different state and everything looks legit. Those businesses could go out of business, change ownerships, increase their prices on you. You'd be like, whoa, because you're like, you're already got your margins tight, and now you got these extreme increased prices and you have nowhere else to go, or many other things could happen. So if you don't have a backup plan, game could be over. So it's important as possible to have a reliable vendors and suppliers, so you got to know they're reliable, been in business for some time. Things could happen, but especially in these conditions today. So you got to make sure you do your homework. And once you're able to do that, then you build that good credit history with these vendors, so that you become valuable to them. And when I say build the credit history, is that you've got to have a 30-day credit term with vendors to help you too with this cash flow. So if you're giving, like say you purchase things and you're paying them on time, there's other vendors that probably aren't paying as well as you are. So they're going to get your product out there. You get pushed ahead because they know you're going to pay within the timeline that you have agreed upon. But if you can also try to get that 30-day credit term where you can get, so your cash flow won't be so affected. You don't want to have to produce something, pay it right away, and you don't have any movement with your funds. So make sure you get that 30-day window so you can get the orders in, pay that purchase order pays for this order, and you know how that works. So be loyal to your vendors, and it builds trust. Pay and deliver on time, and that will help you get what you need from your vendors as well as your suppliers.
Yeah, I agree. Just piggybacking on that note, just keeping an open communication with your vendors and suppliers is key. If you don't hear from them, check in. Hey, how's it going? A lot of things are shifting. Is there anything that's going to be drastically changing our prices or your supply chain? Because they're dealing with a lot of stuff. We are all dealing with a lot of stuff, and things could change at last minute, and they haven't had the time to really make this huge announcement that some of their supplies are running low. I think keeping in constant contact with your key manager for these companies is really important, so you're not hit with surprises. I think that's been really key for us, and having a point of contact, even if it's a larger company, that's really, really important, because when things go really bad really quickly, which can, you need that person to say, hey, what is going on? Can I hear your thoughts on this? And it could be in terms of a shipper, it could be in terms of a vendor. And we tried to work with a lot of the smaller companies, women owned, more so recently, but just that relationship alone and understanding where we are at during those really critical times has been key for us. And we just kind of work it out rather than really getting upset. I mean, I think times have changed drastically where we're able to share some of the, the things that are happening to gauge and work around so we can all work together. That's been really important for us.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's such a good point. If you're in a situation that you're dealing with a company that's way bigger than yours, finding one person who can be your advocate within this huge sea, I think would be really important, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Well, great. Thank you. So now we kind of talked about how to make sure you get what you need. And I think we can flip to the kind of other side of that coin a little bit and talk about how you try to make sure to be a good partner to, whether it's a vendor, maybe it's a consultant, any type of kind of business associate. Do you all have any practices or habits that you employ to kind of proactively make sure that those individuals get exactly what they need from you, that you're kind of proactively providing what's needed? Kei, we'll start with you this time and then we'll go to Pamela.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many layers of this as an entrepreneur. And I've been doing this for 10 years, practically solo with my staff. And then my husband has come on board recently to kind of help me out and being my bouncing board. But I think always doing your homework and being exposed to other businesses' stories. And how I go about that is by being proactive and listening to podcasts. There's so many different types of business podcasts that are maybe in your industry that share so much of their information. And I think that has been my biggest inspiration and my biggest motivator throughout tough times, honestly, because you know that you're not alone by hearing other people's stories and feeling like, oh my gosh, am I the only one? What's going on? And then you hear larger companies, super successful companies that have gone through the same stories and same pain points and how they came about it. And that's a great way for you to maybe take those little nuggets of information and apply it to your own company. And I try to keep that as a constant, it's like my vitamin that I listen to a lot of podcasts. I joined different business groups that are in my industry so I can listen to what's going on So I can be prepared that maybe I haven't got that information, but I can take in that kind of like forecast and determine what could happen, so you're not surprised again. That has been a big way for us to implement a lot of these changes within the company, and want to make sure that we apply that as a leader and as a entrepreneur and trying to scale. So, and being proactive in getting to mixers. A lot of times it's all on virtual. However, there's a lot of groups that are available for you to participate in, especially through Accion Opportunity Fund, your banks, any other business partnerships that you may have created throughout your journey. You can definitely reach out to them and say, hey, do you have anyone who specializes in marketing that you could refer me to? Is there a group? And I mean, everyone has so many different types of networks that they'll be willing to share if the timing is right.
That's great. So find your people. That's really smart. Pamela, what about you? What do you think?
Yep, I agree. And I'll just add, because Kei talked about quite a bit of that, which is so real in this business. And I feel like being a good partner, is very important to the success of the company. Being proactive by reaching out to your vendors regarding any events or promotions to build the sales. So not only for yourself, but for them. That company wants to see how you can be valuable to them. So trying to get some being involved with their activities, giving them a few freebies if they have an event that you're saying, if you can afford to do that, if it's a small event, you can give some giveaways, and they're going to remember you for that. And it goes a long way. And let them know you stand behind your brand. So that means if you have to virtually demo your product, or virtually or physically, they're allowing physical demonstrations now a little bit more. And make sure your products they stay trendy and innovative, change the flavor, to make sure it makes sense to whatever you're doing. Now that day's gonna come where you need to have good inventory products on hand. So now that you've built that wonderful relationship and you've been so proactive, wow, all of a sudden you get this unexpected purchase order. You're like, oh shoot, so now you got to figure out, how am I gonna get all these hundreds of cases out of here? And then you make sure that you have that inventory on hand, and you don't want to be delayed on your first big one, so make sure you have enough product, so they see that you can handle the volume. That's huge, handling the volume. And then having strong performance history, that you've got, like you mentioned, Kei, you got 10 years in, make sure they know that, that's huge on your part. Make sure you put that up there. And also find out, what are their sales expectations? What are you looking for? You want to get that up front so you can start building out on that early. So by the end of the year, you're going to say, hey, can you send us a sales report? And you already know where you are, but you want to let them know, hey, see, we're doing great. Every year is increasing. So you've actually, you've got them to believe in you without them realizing it. And they're, it also, gives them, it's getting what you need from them. It really is, because they will give once they realize you can perform.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, so many excellent tips, and just things that seem small but also make all the difference. If you are able to connect with somebody directly and follow through with them and demonstrate the follow through, I think that's so important. That's great. Well, thank you both. All right, so our next question is about business relationships that you didn't expect. So I'm hoping both of you maybe can speak about a business relationship or two that you, when you were first starting out, you didn't even expect to have or didn't even really think about, but that has turned out to be really critical, kind of surprisingly critical to the success of each of your brands. So we'll start with Pamela, and then we'll go to Kei.
Okay. That's true, because you're out there and you don't expect things and they just pop up. So I would say that, I was amazed or didn't expect, the relationship with Amazon. I mean, Amazon is, it's a huge e-commerce. But that happened because our relationship with Whole Foods, which led us to Amazon. And at first, it was really expensive to work with Amazon. I gotta be honest with you. We weren't making any profit and just shipping products and making pennies. And then after about a year of minimum sales, you know, we were just about to give up. I mean, how long can you sustain that, right? And then we were looking to, you know, find another way of shipping and receiving our products through FedEx or UPS, you know, because you know, shipping it ourselves and trying to figure out how we can set up PayPal or whatever to get the products to the customer across the states. And we tried that. But it was minimum, and we were really losing money that way too, because if you're in the Midwest trying to ship over to California, you got the weight issue and you don't have a partner, then you're really losing money. However, most recently, we were offered some promotions and programs to grow the business. Amazon did reach out to do something like that. We were like totally excited. So we created our online Amazon store, and business started to gradually increase through their support with advertising, and our products are reaching customers across the United States now, and our sales have increased, you know, about 50% from last year on the e-commerce. So Amazon or any other, you know, e-commerce could be a good partner. However, know that after producing your products, you got to keep all this in mind, you know, your costs, you know, you got to produce that product, you got to ship that product. And then, you know, with Amazon, be honest with you, depends on what kind of product you have. You're going to profit maybe about 17%, but 17% of thousands of dollars could add up. And also Amazon could be one of your best marketing tools, or anyone or any e-commerce could actually help you get is your actual media distributor. So instead of trying to get these trucks to go across the world to carry your products, you know, you're trying to use this e-commerce platform to get those same products across the states. And then, so not only could that e-commerce be your marketing tool to grow your brand, it could also be your distributor to get those products across the US. And that's what we've experienced, and that's what it's done for us, something we totally didn't expect.
Pamela, if I could just ask you questions on that. Did you go direct with Amazon in terms of marketing, or did you hire an outside source digital marketer to help you create your online store on Amazon and such?
No, they came to us and gave us an account rep for a whole year to do it. And, you know, uploading those product images and learning ASINs and all that, it's a huge learning curve to be able to understand, but they will help you load it up. You know, obviously it's to their benefit too, right? They will help you load it up. Now, did I have someone that knew Amazon behind the scenes? I did have a little consultant, you're right, Kei, a little consultant there to help me understand how to grow profit. You know, what does it take? So for example, you click on Amazon and you go through, you're ordering something. I wanted Charboys. You click on Charboys, I want that whole page. I want the whole page. I don't want Sweet Baby Ray's or all these other people hanging around me. I want Charboys right there, and I want all the sauces lined up. Well, there's a way that you have to build your store. You build a store, then that store pops up to take the page. So that way the customers are like looking only at you, and that's what you really want. So you have to learn how to make that happen. So that's where I would say, to answer that question, you know, Amazon will help you grow your brand. Once you get those products up the line, you can get an Amazon rep to help you upload the images and send you tutorials. And then of course you can also get some feedback from someone that really knows the back end of Amazon, which is important.
So were you personally, did you have a team that was working on your Amazon shop continuously throughout the year, or?
I did. I had a back-end consultant working on the keywords that would trigger customers to be able to, you know, so you have to have keywords so that your product can actually pop up on the side of a screen when customers are shopping for products, sauces, bourbon, even if they're working for bourbon whiskey, because it's bourbon, the word bourbon, they'll be, you know, Charboys will pop up, you know. So keywords are key, and make sure that you have some kind of quick video, you know, because if they get to your site, make sure you have enough videos for them to watch, for the, you know, to kind of engage them. So that had to be built too. So I did get that help with the consultant to help me build that. So you got to make sure that consultant really knows everything about the business. I'm going to tell you this, for example, prior to, let's say I was on Amazon for now about 3 or 4 years now. So with Amazon, you build a history. For example, a bourbon sauce. It had reached a high level of sales. So here it is midway, it's all the way up there. Well, what happened when you build your store? I didn't know this. Huge mistake. You build your store and you pull that product down to build the store, you lose all your history. That means that product now that was selling every day is selling once a month because it doesn't have that, you lost your space. When you pull down your product from one place to another, so the best thing to do is make sure if it's new, build it all at one time. Don't pull it down ever unless you really have to, because then you lose your space on Amazon. You lose that, you know, how many people, how many searches, you lose it. So you got to start all over again. So all 3 years of history is gone.
Is
That
this
happens
after
on-
you created the, I'm sorry, is it after you created your actual page, or is it, when did that happen, when you lost that?
I had not created the page at first. I was just selling, you know, through promotion. I was using Facebook business page to lure customers to the Amazon. My website had go to Amazon for free shipping. Well, that was all just bottles on the website. I mean, there was no store yet. So I had 3 years of sales of just my own customers, and I had their data too, you know, because they were buying, you know, Amazon changed that. No longer do you get the data. You won't know who your customers are anymore. You get the state and that's it. Maybe the first name. Before you can get the address, you can reach out to customers on your own and do all that. So I wasn't able to do that. So when the moment that I found out how to, I remember I mentioned I wanted to have the whole page when you click on Charboy sauces. Well, I found through the consultant, one of the ways to do that is to build a store. When I built that store, you have to take the products offline for 24 hours to put them into the store. And when that happened, that history was gone. History gone. So when I say that your history is important, because when people click on a certain word, your product always pops up. Well, now that product is down at the bottom. It's going to take months and years to get it back to where it was. So you lose your space and you can't get it back.
That's a really key point. I think that's really important whenever you reach out to your consultant digital marketer. For me, my biggest aha point was hiring a digital marketer when we first wanted to go e-commerce, and that was a huge eye opener for us. We really didn't have marketing budget to embark on hiring a digital marketer. I didn't even know what that meant because we never really focused on e-commerce. And when that happened, I'm like, wow, you can actually put ads and it works. And that was a huge, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. So throughout that's been a big partner for us, is finding your digital partners and all these other digital marketers that you can apply to increase your sales, whether it be Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, creating Facebook videos. So that has been definitely an unexpected relationship, and I wouldn't be able to do it without him, for sure, throughout this.
Yeah, I think that's so important to, it sounds like you were able to recognize the challenge and the opportunity when COVID started, that you had to go online, and then knowing when it's time to ask for external help. And it sounds like both of you, like Pamela, when you want to set up the store, you recognize that you need help. Like there's people who already are experts on this, and recognizing that it's not the time for you to become an expert in that. And when you get that external person who can really kind of make all the difference, I feel like that's a really difficult thing for business owners to know, when is that right time for them to take it on versus asking for help. I think that can be challenging to not know when, and on the affordability of it too, right? It's like asking, you're gonna have to pay for this person. Like Kei, you mentioned you didn't have a digital marketing budget before because you didn't need it. So like, how did you figure out at what point is this gonna be worth it and all of that kind of thing?
That's a really good question. When can you afford it, and how do you align that budget, and how do you negotiate that fee? It was actually, for me, it was kind of do or die at this point, because we lost 95% of our business at the beginning of the pandemic, since everything was catering and wholesale, and the restaurants, hotels, cafes were closed down. We had few that survived, but it was a complete overhaul. So it was do or die. And we really, at that time in the beginning of the pandemic, we didn't have that huge budget to apply to marketing. And everyone at that time was really like charging a lot of money. And we reached out to a company, I think that trains a lot of the digital marketing companies, and let them know like, hey, this is our situation. We really need help, but rest assured, if we can get this and all the things that you say is going to work, you'll be in good shape. Like it will work and we can pay you more. But we need to give, we need to have that window of opportunity to work with you and see if you can take a look at our products, see if it'll work. Let's work together. And that's how it came about. I think I went through a lot of companies in order to find the right one though.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad that I did.
Yeah, Ken, I would say too, Kei, the part of this too, when you're right, looking for these companies. I mean, I agree with you. I think I posted on Indeed for social media, folks, and I got 100 resumes. But one of the things I had to learn is, base the agreement upon performance. It's fee-based, it's performance-based. You perform and increase the bottom line by 15%, you get 5 of that. Because that way you don't go in the hole. Another thing is making sure that they give you the knowledge they have. Make sure that whatever they're doing, they show you. That's a part of the deal. I need to see how to get behind these scenes with you, at least to some degree, so that you're not, if things go away, you don't want the knowledge to go with, or anybody with the history, the history, all that knowledge is gone along with them. So try to make sure you get something, you go in with a performance-based agreement, at least, because if they can perform, they should have no problem with that.
Right.
I know you can't really measure. It's hard to measure. Where did that sale come from with digital marketing? Because it could have come from especially if you're doing different platforms, social media platforms, where did that dollar, what increased that? But the thing is, if you have them focus on one platform and then try to figure out, okay, let's see, we got 10 sales here. Can we increase it by 20% by the end of the month, and kind of be engaged with what they're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
Yeah, I think that's really smart. Just thinking about the ways to be a good partner and proactive in kind of showing good faith in the relationship, but also kind of protect yourself and your business a little bit at the same time. That's a balance you got to strike. I also, Kei, I want to like drill in on this a little bit more, because you said that you found your digital marketing firm based on a business that was training digital marketers. I've heard this from other entrepreneurs before, that they work with, whether it's like somebody's capstone project right before they graduate from high school or college or grad school, or like finding somebody who's new and looking for meaningful experience. And so they do have the skill, but they maybe are at a lower rate because they're still trying to like build their book kind of. Is that what you meant by the training piece, or is there like a different thing?
Yes.
For that? Okay.
Yes, absolutely. I had a certain budget and I told them exactly what I can afford, and it was still stretching it at that time. And I said, this is what I can work with. And I explained to them exactly. I said, if we can sell it to this I know that I have confidence in my product. If we can do all this, they said, let me give you maybe 3 or 5 choices from our student list. And they reached out to me, and you just talk to them and see what they're comfortable working with, and you kind of grow together. And I just got lucky with this one person. He helped us with social media and the ads, and really guided us through what I had no idea about, because he was more the professional. Even though he was learning, he had way more understanding of the digital marketing side than I did. So I kind of led with that, and we grew together. And I think that's what helped us. I mean, I know there's tons of other very, very established digital marketing companies, but we just didn't have access to them at that time.
Yeah. Well, and sometimes the big firms, it's just not the right fit, even if somehow you could afford it. Like they just are not going to give you exactly what you need. Like Pamela, you're talking about somebody who's willing to take the time to sit and show you. Maybe a firm will do that. Maybe they won't, because they have like standard processes and they're a bigger company. But I agree, it makes sense to know at least a little bit about what they're doing for you. So if something happens, you're able to kind of step in and manage a little bit on the side or something like that.
Yeah. And I agree. I just add real quick, because I did have some interns, graduate students working on Charboys for the social media, and boy, did they come up with some amazing things, things that you don't even think about, and how they would market it through e-commerce. So I think if you can get your company associated with one of the universities and have them do a school project on it, maybe like I said, the grad students in business or marketing, they could help too. And all along, all you're doing is, yeah, you may have to give up your time to come on, on the Zoom meetings to listen to listen to their presentations about how they're going to build your brand, but it's well worth it at the end. And then maybe one of those students can turn into one of your employees.
Yeah, that's so smart. I'm glad you were able to do that. That sounds like a really good idea. All right. So I think now we're going to turn to questions from our audience. So everybody on the line, if you have any questions for Kei or for Pamela, please put them in the chat and we will work through some of those. I know we also had questions come in that were submitted ahead of time. So we'll talk through a couple of those while everybody is typing into the chat. So feel free to type any questions you have. But the first one that I'm hoping we can talk about, that we had questions come in ahead of time about vendor negotiations, vendor, landlord, any type of negotiation. We had a few people asking how they can negotiate lower prices, especially because so many businesses' revenues have really suffered in the past couple of years. So I think, Pamela, we can start with you on this. Do you have any advice for somebody who might be trying to negotiate a lower price?
Yeah, I would say that, understand what who the vendor is, right? And understand what they're, who are they, what do they want, so that you can come there prepared to show them that you have what they need. Once you get that done, you can, try to say, let's say you're trying to get your product there into their shelves or into their stores or wherever. You can actually try to negotiate an introductory type pricing, like, and try to take it down, maybe make sure you watch your margins, but try to take it down, 10% of what you normally would charge. And they could see that. Now, another way is to compare, like make sure you have maybe a spreadsheet of what you're charging other vendors and let them know you're giving to them a little cheaper. You have other vendors you're working with, but you really like them and you're local and you want to make sure that your product, your product will do well because it's already doing well at these prices, but I can give you something a little less expensive. I'm willing to work with you. We can start with an introductory price, see how the product maintains, and then we go back to normal pricing. They like that because they feel like they're taking a chance and you're willing to take a risk too, by reducing some of your costs. The other thing, when it comes to distribution, it's kind of tricky there. It depends on if your product is breakable or not or whatever, you don't want to get caught up in buybacks because that could hurt you really bad. And when I say that, I mean, you want to negotiate that kind of buyback understanding. For example, agree that your cost for, let's say you ship out a pallet of products and the bottles break, half of them break, but for whatever reason, they charge you back for all that. So that check you thought, well, you're getting for 10,000, you're getting, or 50,000, it's going to go down to, 3,000. So, but if you have a good agreement, which I would suggest having a good agreement to say, okay, this is part of the buyback. Can we waive, some of this, and this is what we can do to, if we have breakages, this is what, come up with some kind of strategy with that buyer, So those are ways to make sure that you go in, so you don't go into something, yes, you negotiate it, but you don't have a plan to make sure it's sustained, because things change, buyers change all the time. I'm not honoring that anymore, So, just kind of have something where you can have an agreement if possible, and just stay in contact with your, when you negotiate, it's really, it is still building a relationship, but it's more of trying to have that vendor work with you in a way that they feel comfortable with.
If I can add to that,
Yeah, please.
This is something that I learned throughout the buyback situation I encountered as well. And I had no idea that even existed. I didn't do my homework. So always do your homework. And if you can, really educate yourself with a group of people who are in the same industry. I was really fortunate to find a food business group that I really enjoy and always go back to, and for any suggestions and such. But when you're going through negotiations, and if it's a big project, I would ask an attorney, like someone who, even at your local business, like SCORE is one that's in Southern California. They have a lot of business expertise there. And if you just shoot them an email, say, hey, I'm looking to expand and I have this contract, can you review it? Just so you can have that understanding if it's something that it's new in your realm. I think that would have helped me a lot. And if you're like excited that you got this new account and you just want to go, just take a little moment and say, hey, you know what, let me ask my friends here who have gone through this and see what they've gone through. So you have the best ammunition in order to negotiate back and forth. And what is it like?
Yeah, that's super smart. I think just asking whether it's an expert or people who've walked the walk, right? And seeing maybe there's a red flag that they might notice that that you're just, like you're saying, in your excitement, not paying attention to. I think that's smart. All right. And then the next question that we had was about employees or contractors. And I know we've talked about consultant kind of contractors a bit already, but I'm wondering if either of you have had much success figuring out how to recruit the kind of the best type of people that fit the roles you're looking for in your business. Have you found any sort of patterns or best strategies for finding the right people for your organizations? Pamela, we can start with you and then we'll go to Kei.
Okay, that's a really, that question is really important and huge, because the employee is what I found is that sometimes you can go through, referrals.
Oh yeah.
That's one way of screening out all the ifs and buts, because you got a referral, someone that's in the business doing what you're doing. Now, a lot of people won't let go of their good employees, but what they can do is they can refer other people like them. And that's what you kind of want. If you're interviewing folks, and if you're doing it virtually or whatever, really look, we know all the basic things, like look at the resume, make it, people have gaps in employment all the time sometimes, because of the conditions we're in right now. But, just still try to see if you got someone that has a consistent work history, that's been doing something for a while. Make sure that those skills they have can cross over to what you're doing, what you need them for. Sometimes it may not be on paper, but when you talk with them, you were like, wow, this could work. And then, of course, what I found too is demonstrate by doing. Have them conduct a demonstration of how they would do it. I've had when I was dealing with the social media, that's one of the toughest type jobs to hire for, because they can tell you, they can talk the game, but you have to, what I do is I have them come in and demonstrate how you're going to show me a social media, show me how you would do this application. Show me, and then I can see them doing it. If they're fumbling not quite sure where they're going, I'm like, okay. But if they know the words and language, oh, this is not going to work because that's why that's not working. I can't upload because of this. You've got a flaw here or whatever. And that's what you want to hear. So that's one way of doing it. And you can also, these days, virtually, you can have them do screenshots or screen shares. That's how you do it now. Just have them demonstrate, do a presentation. That's one good way. If they're serious about it, they'll be okay to perform. And then, of course, having that, I'm trying to think about the part of that question with making sure you hire the right employee. Sometimes it takes a few to get there, but, don't waste a lot of time if it's not the right fit. Don't waste a lot of time. And you'll know within 30 days whether this is going to work or not. And you just have to make sure that, you have a plan to make sure you can kind of pivot to something else, or make sure that you can still, whatever they're doing, you could make sure you have a way you can get it done if you have to let that person go.
Okay.
Definitely having another contact in HR, because things are constantly changing. So you need that contact with an HR person that can just give you on the fly, okay, what about this? What do I do when this happens? I think that's really key with employees as well, especially in the food industry, that you need to be aware of the different laws, wage laws and such that could be affecting you. So having a good HR, there's a lot of HR companies out there, again, that are available virtually, and they're not one key person possibly. If you have that access, fantastic. Again, when it comes to budgeting for that, there's a lot of economically accessible, I think, HR programs that you can reach out to.
And I'll add real quick too, some of these, like if you're interviewing it on Indeed, you know, they have ways you can test their skill set, you know, as a part of the application process. So you can just push that button to have them, you can check for verbal, you can check for knowledge of the area. It'll automatically generate the type of questions that you would ask in an interview. But instead of you wasting time going through the interview, you'll know whether they're 75 or 95 or 50% compatible to what you're looking for.
All right, that's a great tip. Any type of pre-screen, I feel like it would be really helpful, kind of save you some time in trying to find the right person. All right. Well, I think that is all the time that we're going to have for today, all the questions. We had a couple specific questions about Amazon, and Kei, thank you for jumping in the chat with the reference to your specific digital marketer. Maybe we can get him some more business based on this conversation. That'd be kind of fun. But really appreciate everybody engaging with us in the chat. Great questions. And I want to say just the hugest thank you, Pamela and Kei, both of you, for sharing your time and your expertise with us. I can't tell you how much I've enjoyed this conversation, and I know it's always really valuable for business owners to hear from each other. You all have so much more knowledge than I feel like anybody can learn from, you know, a textbook or some other type of person who hasn't actually walked this walk. And you both have built really impressive and big brands. You've grown so much in your businesses. So I'm really appreciative that you all would take the time to share some of your insights with us today. I really appreciate that. And I think that's going to be it. I hope that everybody feels more prepared to create and maintain those strong business relationships. I'm going to drop one last link into the chat so you all can find more information about AOF. But Kei and Pamela, either of you have any last insights?
I do, actually. I have to say, my experience throughout my whole 10+ years journey of having a bakery and being an entrepreneur, having people at AOF support our business throughout our ups and downs have been just priceless. And everyone at AOF has really, really helped us promote our business and really kind of stay on track with different opportunities for business mentoring, just suggestions and whatnot, and referrals to other people that may be helpful as strategic partner has been, I have to say, just enormously. I'm so grateful to be a part of AOF. Thank you.
Yes, and I've got to second that, you know, because AOF have they're an amazing resource and amazing group of people. They're genuine. They're not looking for anything but to merely help businesses grow, merely provide that support. I can't tell you enough times that I get something from Meredith or something's going on, and it's just, it's amazing how far that goes. And it's always helped grow the company. And as I have always said, you know, and I'm not just saying this, you know, AOF has been extremely significant in Charboy's being where it is today. I mean, with the growth, the expansions, I know it wouldn't be where it is without that.
Agree. Yeah.
Right? It would not be, because there's too many companies out here to take you. You're trying to grow and they're taking from you as you're trying to grow, you know, because you're trying to figure out how to, you know, you need resources and networking, but yet you got to pay for it along the way. And it's just a little baby trying to grow. So when you have a company like that, I mean, we've been in business for 12 years now, you know, and that we started with the, you know, thank God for AOF, you know, being able to be there for us. And so now that we're growing, but, you know, we want to give back. You know, we want to give back to be able to, the gratefulness of what we've experienced and share that and do the right thing with that. So thank you. I just want to say AOF, thank you, Meredith.
Thank you,
Emma. And I want the world to know how great you all are, you know.
I agree.
It's real. Yeah.
Well, thank you guys so much. I appreciate your kind words, and I'm overwhelmed. I'm I love what we do, and I'm so excited to continue to do it and build these partnerships with the two of you, with your businesses, and with so many more businesses. That's what we're here to do, is just support everybody else in their goals to reach what success means for them. So really appreciate your partnership in that, and excited that we could do this today. This was really fun, really lovely. And we'll see everybody at the next learning event. We'll see you soon. Have a good day. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.